So with any good project or process, being able to outline what's going to be expected as far as making it a reality, whatever it might be, makes it just that much easier. Why? Well, you're simply laying out everything that you need to address while creating the product, the service, whatever the case might be. I'm Sebastian Rusk, and I help people start a podcast. In this video, I'm going to show you exactly what I did to outline my next book, Podcasts Suck If You Don't Have One, with my friends at Self-Publishing School. They've got an awesome step-by-step program to help you go from blank page to published author in 90 days or less. Now, if you watched my first video about the introduction of podcast to book series here on the channel, you would have seen that I've completed the very first step in the self-publishing process with Self-Publishing School, and that was to create my mind map. Now, my mind map was simply to take all the ideas in my head and get them out on a sheet of paper. It looks something like this. It gets often messy. It looks, like a bunch of chaos on a piece of paper. Oh, but don't fret. That allows you to get all of your ideas out of your head and onto a piece of paper so that you can then go and start to formulate what is your book outline. I spent the past couple of days doing just that, and I've got my trusty Self-Publishing School workbook, and within this workbook are 2 worksheets in order to not take up more than 2 pieces of paper when putting your outline together. But it looks something like this. I've written the title of the chapter, or at least what I think is going to be the title of the chapter, and then I've put between 3 and 6 key points underneath the title, and that is what I'm going to write each chapter about. Now, I don't know that if I've done all of this correctly, but I'll soon find out with my upcoming call with my Self-Publishing School book coach. And they're going to make sure that I'm doing everything correctly here and answer any questions that I might have. But I like to think I did this correctly because I've written a book before, number one. Number two, throughout this workbook, like before you get to the outline worksheet page, Self-Publishing School really takes you by the hand and walks you through the entire process from the very beginning. There's an online portion, and then there's the workbook portion, and they very much work together to help you really understand. But for example, right before I got to the worksheet page, I got to this page right here. And all this page basically does is give me tips for creating an outline, and it also just gives me all the information that I would need to know in the event that I had any questions about creating the outline. Let me share one with you. Tips for creating an outline. Your outline should be easy to follow and no more than a couple pages long. Why? Because the purpose of the outline is to condense your mind map into a structure that's easy to follow when it comes to the time you start writing your book. So, let me finish. At this stage, you're not trying to fill in the gaps or write a summary of each chapter. You just need bulleted outline to jog your memory and give you a prompt when it's time to write. Create another mind map that groups similar ideas together. Refer to the framework and structure template before starting. So they give you all the information that you need in order to better understand what an outline is. Now, if you don't know how to do an outline, you're in luck because they're walking you through this process. And they're also giving you some tips, tricks, tools, and examples on best uses of the template in order to get your outline done. Now, I ended up with about 11 chapters. I did 1 page, and then they provide a second page, and I decided that while my mind was going, and I was working off of my mind map to get these crazy ideas right here organized onto a piece of paper that would then become the outline. Now, next step is, drum roll please, it'll be time to start the rough draft. This is when it gets real. This is when you take your mind map and you take your outline, and now you really start to extract parts of that and write chapters of the book. Once I write all 11, the book will be done. I'm nowhere near that right now, but I'm having fun in the process. I got stumped for a couple days. In fact, I shot a video on my way into the studio on Sunday morning. Check it out. So it's Sunday morning, about 9 a.m. on my way into the studio to work on my book outline. I think it's important to understand that it's Sunday morning and the last thing I want to do is go into the studio and tie into a book outline. But when I weigh out my options and I say, well, if I tackle this now, it's one less thing that I have to do this week, but more importantly, one step closer to where I need to be, which is finishing this book in 90 days or less. So I just wanted to put this clip in wherever it's going to fit into the series, that you're not always motivated to just go and write. But you've got to think about where you really want to be. And by not writing, does that get you closer to where you want to be or further? I'd rather grind it out for a few hours on a Sunday morning and then split the day up and relax the rest of the day, knowing that I can go to bed tonight assured that I've got a good chunk, if not all of my outline done from my book. By the way, it's mind map, get my ideas on the paper, and we put the outline together, and we tie into the first draft. Then you get the book done in 90 days, or less. My goal is going for the or less part. So next time you don't want to do something, remember, by not doing it, is it going to keep me further away from where I want to be, or is doing it going to get me closer? Usually get your answer. Well, I hope you're leaving this episode of Podcast of Book with at least one or two things you didn't know about self-publishing your own book. I'm doing it with my friends at selfpublishingschool.com, and you can too. There's a link below in the comments. You can schedule a free call with somebody on the Self-Publishing School staff to explore what options are available. Just go to selfpublishingschool.com/beyond the story.